Well, you're listening to North Manchester FM with me, Katy Booth, and my guest today has been described on internet forums as a legend, hero, and one person even said that it was a shame the programmes interrupted him. He has a warm, friendly voice that we all know. He is, of course, ex-Granada continuity announcer Colin Weston. Hello, Colin. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Katy and everyone at home. Nice to be back on 106.6.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you've just said. In fact, I wrote it.
Oh, it was you, was it?
It was me, yes.
There we go.
A legend in my own lunchtime.
You're a legend. You're a legend in the region and beyond, because continuity announcing is something that everybody will know, but they might not be aware of what it is. So
basically, it's the bits in between the programmes before the actual show starts.
Yeah. The
announcer would come on at the end of the programme to say, next on whatever it is, there's Britain's Got Talent, or they would say, now it's time on ITV1 for Britain's Got Talent, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He actually is the flow between the programmes during the evening's entertainment.
Yeah.
He's also there to cover breakdowns, and they do happen more often than you'd think.
Yes, yeah, well, that's true. And I was watching a few, because there's websites on the internet where you can get old, where people put that together like an internet museum.
Yes, I think you'll find mine there as well.
I did, actually.
In a rogues gallery of people who've made fluffs and other things.
That's right, because people always seem to want to put on like mistakes and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, well, the I'm All Right on the Night, it'll be all right on the night, is a good show, because it shows all the cock-ups, as Dennis Norden used to call them, and it's just, people are human, they make mistakes, and I love mistakes, actually, because it's how you get out of them.
That's right.
That shows your personality.
Yeah,
you see. If you look po-faced because you just made an error, it makes the error worse.
Yeah.
But if you just smile and giggle, oh, what the hell, let's go on to the next thing.
And it
That's
shows
fine.
it human as well.
Yeah.
So what was the sort of worst thing that ever happened to you in terms of technical breakdowns?
I remember there was a film, it's not actually up here, it was when I was working in Norwich for Anglia Television, and there was a film, it was one of those big blockbusters, and anybody was in it, and the film actually broke physically on air,
right?
You know, like it would in the cinema. Only this was on television to millions of viewers. And I came up at the end to say, well, that's one film I don't recommend you watch. And unfortunately, my boss was watching, and I did get into a bit of trouble over that. Actually,
right?
It's just, I don't know. It's just, I didn't mean to say it. It's just a little gremlin in my head said, "I'll say the opposite of what I'm supposed to say."
Yeah, that can happen.
It is a good film. Flight to the Phoenix with James Stewart, where a plane crash in the desert, and they try to survive and try to get out of it. And what do I say? That's one film you don't recommend. I don't recommend.
Well, it did break down though, so it causes you sometimes when things. Because I know here with the radio, you know, it can just cause you to think. Yeah. It's a bit of a panic moment, but it's how you deal with it, like you said. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. If you keep a cool head and a cool brain, you get out of it. But even if you fluff it, or that's part of human nature. It's part of the job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, like you said, ITV did used to be made up of different regions. It's a bit different now. But, you know, when you were working on the different regions, was there a bit of rivalry there?
Yeah, there were, particularly in London, because you had two companies during the week. You know, going back, we had Thames Television and there was London Weekend. Well, they were big rivals to get their ratings, you see, and also the advertising. The advertising, everybody went after that, you see, to get the money. Yeah, there was a lot of rival. I mean, up here, I don't know, older listeners might remember that we used to have two companies operating ITV up here. There was Granada from Monday to Friday, and there was a weekend company called ABC Television, who just did Saturday and Sunday, you see. There was a big rivalry there. In fact, I remember when I worked there, when we closed down the station, in the days before there was 24-hour telly, you couldn't say, over the weekend your programmes will be presented by ABC Television. We weren't allowed to mention them. You had to say, well, ITV will be back tomorrow, and Granada will be back on Monday. That's how intense it was. Yeah. And you couldn't even give your name out at the end either.
Yeah, so
they didn't like any personalities coming across.
Which is a bit different from nowadays, because you hear a lot more accents and stuff on continuity announcements.
I have to say, I don't like presentation now. I mean, I listen to ITV1 now and again, and I really don't like some of the stuff that comes out. And as you say, the voices, they wouldn't have been allowed or even got a job back in the 60s and 70s.
No, that's right.
Very strange.
Because I think it's just the way society has gone, though, isn't it? And I think nowadays, you know, you don't even have regional announcements. It's all done in London.
Yes, that's right.
And mostly pre-recorded. What I can imagine it's pre-recorded.
It is well, I certainly pre-recorded a lot of stuff when we went through the night to keep payments down. They used to get us to record probably a week's announcements,
Yeah.
which are very strange doing that, very clinical.
Yeah, and then if something goes wrong, obviously, then you're in a bit of a sticky situation because you can't get out of that one.
I think what's happening is that it all sounds the same now. I don't like television today in the job I used to do. That's gone, you see. The announcer, as we know him, as a personality, is gone.
That's right.
So what you've got, a lot of voices. And in fact, if you don't have the ident on the screen, you don't know what channel you're actually watching.
Yeah.
With the announcer, you knew, well, that's that guy working for so-and-so, That's all gone.
Yeah, it's all very different now because in terms of they just squeeze the credits and it's just, and then the adverts come on or the next programme comes on. And it's all very quick and it's getting.
It's like the American television, because the American television, if you ever watch the credits on the end of an American show, I mean, you get about 2 seconds to read everybody's name.
That's right.
It's becoming like that.
That's right, which, because I know myself that there's a lot of people that work on these programmes and even more than actually what do get credited for it, and a lot of hard work goes into it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And so it's a bit different nowadays, though, because there was the golden age, wasn't there? The golden age of TV, and especially at Granada, they had the Bernsteins own the company.
Yes, that's right. Sydney and Cecil.
That's right. And there's still, even in the building now, you still hear about things like I used to work on the 7th floor, which is apparently where their offices were, and people still mention them. So what were the Bernsteins like? Did you meet them or know of them?
Well, they certainly were what you call entrepreneurs. They actually sort of ran the company with a rod of iron. They actually were very proud to have a company that originated from Manchester.
Yeah.
If you ever notice on the screen, the old days, From the North, Granada Presents.
Yeah.
Well, they were very proud of that. They wanted to break this monopoly of television only coming from London, which of course is gone now. It's gone full circle.
Yeah.
Television is now from London, and the regions don't really exist. They were they ran the company very skillfully, and they actually brought people in who were very good program makers and producers and presenters, and actually knew what they wanted for their shows.
Yeah.
They were so different from everywhere else.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing, definitely. And it's gone a bit of full circle now, hasn't it? Because now the BBC are moving down, because it has become so London-centric.
Yeah,
and
they're
now
coming
they're
up here now,
Media
you
City.
see. They're opening, BBC Radio 5 Live, Children's Department and Sport is coming from up here in Media City,
That's
isn't it?
right, yeah. And they've already moved some of the programmes in, actually, for the BBC. So that's good for us here.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, more jobs are created. But obviously you didn't just work for Granada, you worked for different regions as well. And didn't you send 2 audition tapes off to Yorkshire TV
yes,
one time?
Yes, I did actually, in different names. Yorkshire TV, which hadn't been created then, this is back in 1967.
Yeah.
Good heavens, I can't remember, I've been around that long. And what I did, I actually sent one reel-to-reel tape into what was going to be Yorkshire Television under one name. They didn't like it. So I sent another one about 3 weeks later under a different name, and actually they didn't know who it was. I chose some other name, and I actually got an audition. I went up to Leeds and was auditioned, but they didn't no idea it was the same person. You would have thought the face would have been recognisable.
That's a great story, that really is.
That was when I was really desperate to get into television, because I was so eager to do it, and this was a new company starting, and I thought from the ground floor, get in now.
Yeah. And, well, you managed it, didn't you? You got in, and, you managed to do it. But you earned the nickname for yourself, Fluff, didn't you? How did you get that nickname?
Well, I should imagine it's self-explanatory, really. I sort of was known for making lots of fluffs on the air, as I did on the show I did here. That, as I said earlier, is part and parcel of the job. It's nice to actually do that, because then it shows you are human.
Yeah.
You've got a sense of humour, and you can actually sort of get out of it. So that's how I got that name. I have to say though that the person who used to have that name before me was Alan Freeman, the disc jockey. He was known as Alan Fluff Freeman when he used to do Pick of the Pops. He got that name as well because he used to sort of run down the chart. So I can't claim that it's an original name.
Right, it's all right to share it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He was a good broadcaster.
Yeah, exactly. So, and another difference between back then and now was that they used to have in-vision continuity where you'd be seen on screen. So did you get recognised a lot when you were out and about?
Actually, yeah. I mean, not only Granada, but I worked for lots of other companies in my holidays. And, it's amazing, really, that you're only on the screen, say, for 10, 20, 30 seconds, ones that you get recognised. And if
Yeah.
you go out in the street, it's quite nice. Yeah, I used to. It didn't bother me, if people used to come up and ask for autographs.
Yeah.
Because it just shows that, you were doing something right. You
Yeah,
actually, so yeah, I
exactly,
quite
yeah.
enjoyed that. I missed the Envision, which of course only one company does now in Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah, UTV.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is still a bit separate. They're still separate, aren't
Yeah.
they, from the rest of the other companies? So yeah, I mean, and also, I think they use it more for children's TV now.
Yes.
With the Envision stuff, which is good because you start to, especially for the kids, because then they can relate to the people.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice.
Well, that's how Philip Schofield started, because he
Yeah.
was a children's presenter before he went into mainstream broadcasting.
Yeah.
I think children's TV is special anyway,
I
separate
do.
from everywhere else.
Yeah, which is why I've said before on the show, sometimes it can get a bit neglected, because of the different advertising restrictions now. They can't advertise fast food and all sorts of stuff like that. So it makes it more difficult for the companies now. But it shouldn't be neglected, because the children are the views of the future, which is what I've always said.
And some children's programmes, I think, are better than some of the shows that you get in the evening in what I call peak viewing.
That's right, and it's what you always remember. You always remember the programmes that you watched as a child as well.
Blue Peter's being the oldest one around.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another one that's coming up to Manchester, like we were saying, yeah.
That's right.
So you've given your opinion on continuity nowadays, but what do you think of television in general nowadays? Because it has changed, hasn't it?
It has. I think a lot more, the rules have been relaxed and a lot more is allowed on the screen.
Yeah.
Of course, there is the watershed, but sometimes they break the watershed and put things out, even in soaps, which perhaps should have been later than 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It has changed. There's a bit more liberal now in what can be shown on the screen.
Yeah.
From language and, shots of people, nudity. I mean, that's a lot more than when I first started in television.
Definitely.
I'm not sure it's a good thing or a bad thing. It depends whether it's in context with the play or the script,
Yeah, not just for the sake of it.
Not gratuitous sex,
Yeah.
or language.
Yeah, Mary Whitehouse would be spinning in her grave, though.
Yeah, she would
She
be.
definitely would.
Yeah.
So what are your favourite programmes? What do you like to watch?
Well, I have to say, soap, I love EastEnders. I think that's the best. I know we're in Corryland
really?
here.
Oh, that's controversial.
I know
Colin.
we're in Manchester and Corryland, but I do prefer EastEnders.
Yeah.
I haven't watched The Street for a couple of years now, so I don't even know what's on and who's in it. I like EastEnders. I like period dramas, things like Upstairs, Downstairs, Downton Abbey,
that's good.
and other dramas which are set 1920s and something like that.
Yeah.
I also like comedy as well. I mean, I like situation comedy, but I have to say that a lot of the best situation comedy was from the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch George and Mildred or Terry and June, which are run on different channels now. The scripts there were far superior to what we get now. The best I think we've got is My Family, which sadly has just ended.
That's right.
Forever.
Yeah.
So that was the best of that type.
Yeah, you don't really get the same sort of sitcoms that we had. They now try and do it the American way, where they get a team of writers in and they try and write, because every line's got to be funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, Friends, which is finished now, which with the American show, had about 20 writers on it, and although it was very too slick, though it was just over slick.
I know what you mean.
The punchlines were too fast and furious. It just sort of didn't sound real, and I'm not sure there was an audience watching the show, but it sounded very much like that awful canned laughter.
Yeah, that's
you get
exactly
You get
right.
that on a lot of shows now.
I thought that as well. I was never a fan of Friends, and everybody that was like, all my friends, they used to love Friends. I never got it really.
Very professional, but too professional. I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem the best
Doesn't seem real,
comedies.
does it?
I think exactly. Yeah, the best I think are the sort of ones where you get a bit of a drama and with a comedy's a bonus in it as well.
Yeah,
so you get a bit of both there.
That's right. Yeah.
But like you said, Coronation Street is important to the region. But lots have changed, especially at Granada now. You used to make a lot more drama, like Crown Court and stuff.
Yeah, they used to do a lot of drama. Now is mainly filmed outside. I mean, Manchester is still a big centre for location filming. But I can remember a day or a year when the 4 studios at Granada, they're massive studios, the big drama studio, were full with Granada Productions. I think they're being used for other people now. Other companies are using it.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many home-produced dramas from those studios anymore. I think it's mainly on film.
That's right. I mean, the only one I can think of was done in the BBC was Life on Mars. That was the big one. And then they, of course, moved
There again,
the
it was
sequel.
BBC, so they rented it out for the BBC to make
That's
the
right.
show.
Well, they do that a lot because most of what we've got at the moment in Granada is Countdowns there, which obviously Channel 4.
Oh, that's made there. I didn't know that.
Countdown moved from Yorkshire because
Right.
they were thinking of closing that down, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got Jeremy Kyle as well, which that's obviously ended for the moment while he's in America.
Right.
And then they're filming lots of different pilots as well for new Saturday shows. So it's more entertainment based now.
Right.
But Coronation Street is still constant.
Yes,
Obviously,
yeah.
they're considered quite separate though
Right.
from the rest of it. And in your experience, though, would you say, because I think that Coronation Street is the sort of main programme that was the kind of cornerstone of it, really, cornerstone of regional TV for Granada.
It was, and I think it's also the cornerstone for ITV as well.
Yeah.
If there isn't a Coronation Street, ITV1, which is suffering from a ratings slump at the moment anyway, I hear, I think without that, they'd be lost.
Yeah.
I'm afraid they have to rely on that as their main drama. Although they do have Emmerdale, which comes under the same umbrella.
Yeah, and you're always guaranteed the ratings with the soaps, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many of them on at the moment now.
Yeah, there are wall-to-wall soaps. I mean, my mum, God bless her soul, she would have loved it because she loved soaps. I mean, as I say, the only one I watch is EastEnders, and I watch the afternoon one called Doctors, which is
I like
which is
Doctors.
on the other lot.
Yeah.
BBC.
On the other side, that's right,
Yeah.
So, that's right. So, I think, though, it's still got the prevalence. It's good to have a programme made from the north, which is considered around the country. Even in South Bank, when I was working there,
I've worked there as well.
They've still got all the Coronation Street memorabilia, and it was a bit of a weird moment because you think, oh, for that moment, I thought it was back in Manchester, and it's like, no, it's South Bank. So
I mean, actually, if you think about it, although it's a northern street, and it's got the look of a northern cobbled streets, it could be filmed anywhere, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take it down to Southampton or Watford or any of those places. As long as it's got the same things that you remember it for, it could be filmed anywhere, really. It's the content and the drama that's important, not the location.
Yeah, exactly. I can't really keep up with it at the moment, though. There's so many soaps on, and it's on so often. I can't keep up with them, really. But if you miss a week, you don't really miss much. You can catch up with it.
Yeah, that's the good thing about it. You can dip in and out. The
Yeah.
trouble is that when you do a whole week, you watch them first time, you've got the omnibus edition as well, so you can't escape it, really, if you're not into soaps.
That's right. Yeah, there's not much choice out there. Even on multi-channel environments, it's all repeats.
Yeah, or you get the American soaps, which I haven't seen any of those, or the Australian ones even, which aren't even as good as ours.
But they work in a very different way. They do. Yeah, but TV is not only what you've been doing, like you mentioned. You were here doing your easy listening show.
I did, yes, last year. Yeah, finished it last year.
And because I still have the Saturday morning slot, and you used to be repeated on the Sunday, and I used to think it was a great compliment in the same slot because they were quite similar shows.
Yes.
And I thought it was nice that. So, are you ever going to dip your toe in the radio water again,
I'd
Colin?
like to. Yeah, I did enjoy it. You see, I mean, that is the music I was brought up in. I'm that old to remember the 50s and 60s music, which is what I played. Mainly, it was a very eclectic program. We had one week we had opera, another week we had orchestral music, and we had
brilliant.
60s. Which I love the 60s music, Monkeys and Helen Shapiro and Eddie Cochran, that sort of thing. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was from my collection, so I knew it was music that I would like because I bought it.
Yeah.
And I used to enjoy picking the music, researching it, the artists, because of course, being the 50s and 60s, most of the artists are dead, sadly. And also, putting the show together, scripting it, because it was a lot of facts and I enjoyed that. The only thing I didn't enjoy was hunched over a computer every night. That's not fun.
It's true. The drawback to radio is the planning. I've got it all in front of me now.
Yes.
Because you've got to give the impression that it's all, just done at the moment, but it takes a long time.
You just turned up and you just opened the door and then it all came like that. Yeah,
I'd love it. That's the ideal.
Oh, wonderful, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, do you know what, Colin? It's been lovely to reminisce with you.
Yes, it's been lovely to talk as well, yeah.
Yes, thanks very much for coming on the show, Colin.
Pleasure.